If you're considering adding an Evergreen product into your online business suite, there's a couple things that you really need to know before you get started building it. First, I'm Kylie. I'm one half of the Funnel Flippers. We help business owners transition those live launches into always on Evergreen sales machines. And if you like digital marketing, all things sales funnels, especially Evergreen, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. First, it's important that we kind of dive into the differences between a live launch model and an Evergreen model. With a live launch, you're going to have a set period where your cart is open. So you're going to have your open date where people can officially get into your course, they can make the purchase and start from there. The closed cart is going to be the cutoff. This is their last opportunity to get in. Once that cart is closed, they're no longer able to purchase your program until usually later in the year when you decide to reopen that. With a live launch model, you're going to have a lot of the prep work ahead of time. So in the weeks before a live launch, you're going to be doing things like planning your sales emails, planning out your social media strategy, scripting out a webinar, a workshop, a challenge. You're also going to be focusing on list building, getting your sales pages in order, thank you pages, testing everything to make sure it works. So there's a lot of pre-work that goes into a live launch versus just, hey, it's open, now it's closed. With the Evergreen model, you're going, again, to be doing a lot of the work at the forefront. But the difference is, with an Evergreen model, people can really get into that product whenever it suits them best. There's no barrier to entry as far as time is concerned. They don't have to wait for you to open the cart in order to enroll. Now, what a lot of people will see when they're debating the live launch versus Evergreen model is what is going to work income-wise for their business. Now, we always recommend having at least one Evergreen product in your suite, because if you're focused solely on using a live launch model, you're going to see a trend that is the feast and the famine. So during the live launch, you're going to have a big spike in your revenue. And then when your cart is not open, it's going to be quite a bit less. And you're not going to see the consistent sales coming in every single day or every single week as you would if you were to have an Evergreen model. So even if you love live launching, we still would love for you to add an Evergreen model, Evergreen funnel into your business so that you not only have those big spikes in your income, but then you also have the more consistent option that Evergreen provides. So inside an Evergreen funnel, there's a couple things that people do that really aren't the best, especially when they're coming from a live launch method. So first things first, to set the expectation, we highly recommend with any new product or service that you do a live launch first. This is really important because it's going to give you the opportunity to test out the viability of your offer. So when you live launch, you're able to set that time frame and say, okay, you can push it really, really hard, and then take a look at the analytics and say, did this perform? Are my customers that have enrolled happy with it? Do they have any feedback for how I can improve that? So by doing this, you're able to validate the offer, get some solid statistics on how to improve it, and then also build social authority by gaining testimonials and gaining those positive remarks from your existing clients that are in it. So we always recommend to live launch a new product or service at least one time, preferably two, before trying to transition to Evergreen. Now let's jump into the mistakes that people make. Number one, and possibly the biggest mistake, is that they just leave the cart open all the time. So, you live launch and then there's just no closing date. This can be a really negative factor inside your sales funnel because people are getting smarter in the online marketing space and around the marketing. They can tell when your funnel was not built for the Evergreen model. They can tell. So if you're saying all these things about this live webinars coming up, and then they go and it's obviously a recorded webinar, that's going to leave kind of a poor taste in their mouth. And also, it's important to note that usually your ideal client will have a different journey in a live launch model because you're building that anticipation the entire way versus an Evergreen model. They're coming to you when they want their problem solved. They have a problem, they want it solved right now. They're in the process of taking the steps to find a solution. So that's very important to remember. You have to keep this in mind and edit your funnel accordingly to fit in an evergreen model. We're talking things like your sales page copy, your email sequences. If you're using a webinar, that definitely needs to be touched on so that it fits evergreen and makes sense and isn't promoting, this live XYZ meanwhile as you're recording. So number one, don't just let your cart open all the time. That is not the proper way to transition to an evergreen funnel. I already kind of talked about this. It's really going to be jumping straight to evergreen without live launching. So I went there a little early, but please do not just jump straight into an evergreen model before you beta test and really validate what offer it is that you want to take evergreen. 3, this is probably the one that we see the most often when someone goes evergreen and then isn't having the conversion and income results that they want. It's because they don't have a solid traffic strategy in place. This is another huge difference between live launch and evergreen. A lot of the times with a live launch, especially a higher ticket live launch, is that you're marketing mainly to a warm audience. So your social media followers, your email list, your YouTube subscribers, and then your network of people that you've connected with in whatever space you're in. Usually that's going to be your warmer people, especially when it's high ticket. Evergreen is a little bit different in that regard because you constantly do need new people coming into your world. It's a good idea to have new people coming into your world regardless when you're an online business, because you constantly want to be expanding your network, expanding your community, and growing. But when we're talking evergreen, you have to have a traffic strategy in place. Do you have to run Facebook ads? No. Do you have to run Google ads? No. You do not need to run any type of paid traffic, but that certainly is an option if that's a place you want to go. When we're talking about traffic strategies, we're talking about all of the ways people find you, whether that is a podcast through SEO content like YouTube, like blogs, social media, whatever platforms you're on, that is also a traffic source. Lead magnets are a traffic source. And then obviously you're going to have your network and people that you're talking to and conversations you're having. Whatever way you are using to bring people into your world, that is going to be your traffic sources. So you need to have a solid strategy in place to continue to bring in new people into that evergreen funnel. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It may sell occasionally, but you're not going to have the consistency of revenue that you are looking for. So number 4 is adding every single thing that you have inside of your offer suite as a bonus. We call this the kitchen sink bonuses. So if this is something that you're doing, I encourage you to take a look. It doesn't matter if it's an evergreen or live launch. If you're doing kitchen sink bonuses, please take a look at those. Bonuses are a lot of the times a core seller of your program. So one of the questions that you really need to ask when you're looking at and deciding what your bonuses will be for any offer is, will this support them in the journey that I'm taking them on in my main course or program? If the answer is no, it can probably go. I think as a community, we've brought together this idea that more is better, more adds value. And so whatever we can, we're just stuffing it into these offers when in reality, our consumers are getting overwhelmed. There's too much. They don't know what they need, what they don't need. So your bonuses really need to be well thought out to support them or answer any questions they might have along the way, or even bust some of their objections. So I encourage you to look at the bonuses, ask yourself what is actually going to be supporting them, and then add that as a bonus. As a side note, please do not inflate the values on your bonuses. If you were to charge for that item all by itself, what price tag would you actually put on that? That should be the value of that product or bonus. Number 5 is going to be not building a tech stack that actually lets it be evergreen. So if you are inside your evergreen funnel doing management and adjustments and sending out emails, I would say more than 7 hours a week, your program is not truly evergreen. The goal with using a solid tech stack and also using automations that help us be able to step back and not have to be so in the thick of it with evergreen funnels will make all the difference. It's going to let your customers have a better user experience, and then it's also going to let you have more time freedom to focus on what you need to focus on as a CEO and business owner, and not all the nitty-gritty details. Or even if your VA is doing this, it's going to let them focus more on high-level things that's going to propel you forward instead of the nitty-gritty things that you don't have to do, because we have technology and technology can do that for you. So a couple automations that would become extremely helpful inside an evergreen funnel is, well, let's back it up. Let's go to tech first. Tech. We highly recommend using a webinar software if you are using a webinar inside your evergreen funnel. We recommend this because you're going to be able to have cleaner insights. You're going to have way more data available to you than if you were just embedding a video on a landing page. You're going to be able to see things such as watch time. How many people are actually watching it? How long are they watching it? Where are people leaving? Where are they taking action? That's going to help you continue to hone in this. Number 2 in the software is going to be a good funnel building software. We highly recommend FG Funnels. If you're not using it, it is absolutely one of the best, if not the best in the industry right now. That's going to let you see information clearly, make easy edits, and see how people are kind of moving from page to page to page of your evergreen funnel. Data is key inside an evergreen funnel so that you can continue to look at the data, make improvements as you go, and continue to see how they impact your bottom line. Number 3, highly recommend using something like deadline funnels if it sits in integrity with you, so that you can do expiring bonuses and add some additional scarcity inside that evergreen funnel. Deadline funnels is going to allow you to set things like expiring bonuses specific to the user. So you're not going to have the issue where you're like, oh, this bonus is expiring in 24 hours and someone comes back in 48 hours and the bonus is still there. That looks a little shady, so we highly recommend that you don't do that. But as far as automations go, definitely you want to be looking at automated sales sequences, automated welcome sequences, and then automated check-in sequences. We love a good check-in sequence. That way you can see how they're doing. They're feeling more supported. And then you can also ask for feedback as they're moving through your program and have those conversations. So definitely check in with your people. This is going to be a lot easier to do it automated than if you were to have like a VA or even yourself reach out to those people. It's going to be every day because they're constantly coming in on a rolling basis into your offers. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by trying to transition an evergreen funnel all by yourself, Sammy and I would love to support you. You can find us at thefunnelflippers.com. We have a little contact us thing. We would love to get on a call, give you some ideas, see what you're working with, and we will talk to you soon.